Then we went on a date with just the two of us, and it was like, oh,
He
should I do my
feeds off
cricket
the
sound?
crowd. Wow. That's amazing. How do you do that? Is it tongue?
Yeah.
Yeah, your horse is the only thing that's better.
My word. Dear Shandy. Welcome back to another Dear Shandy Golden Bachelorette recap, listeners. Hello, Andy.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing okay. We had a nice day off. No, okay is
Only
good.
okay?
No, okay, good, okay. Okay.
You've been a little somber this morning. Is it the gray day?
You know, we had such a nice day off yesterday. It was so amazing. It was magical. We went to this place, Glendalough. I don't know if anyone's been.
We
but
rented a car and drove. It was so lovely.
Unbelievable.
Ireland, on the whole, I gotta say, 10 out of 10, highly recommend.
10 out of 10.
5 stars on Yelp, the whole shebang.
Everything is great.
Yeah, the ingredients, the food, I feel like light and good here.
Yeah.
Like it makes you realize how much crap is in our food in America. And the people here are so
The nicest
nice.
people I've ever met in my life. And not just nice, because we've been to places where people are nice, but they're a little repressed.
Yeah.
They're holding back.
Or it's like nice, but it's like passive aggressive.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah.
Like Canada.
I'm not just saying-
No, Canada's good.
No,
It's good.
Canada.
But there's some passive aggression.
I'm
in
the
Canada.
Canadian. I can admit. I think Canadians are really polite, but there's sometimes a passive
they let it out
aggression.
in the cars. We talked about this.
Yeah. When they get behind the wheel, that's when
Yeah.
it all comes
Yeah.
out. There's a lot of road rage.
But the people here are unbelievably friendly. Ridiculous. Like they give you a kidney. They don't even know you. They're like, hey, take my kidney.
Yeah, they're offering you things, bringing you things. And a man randomly fixed my bike for me in the street yesterday.
It's
like got
incredible.
grease on his hands in order
And
to
they're
help
funny.
me. Yes.
They have good sense of humor.
Totally.
They're smart.
Yes. Okay.
What's
wow.
bad to say about Ireland? How did we not know about Ireland?
Well, we knew
people
about
have been hiding this. They go to Ireland and they say, don't tell anybody about Ireland, because they don't want people coming.
Someone needs to be at fault, Andy.
Yes.
Okay, well, I think you should adjust your mindset because you were a little somber coming in because you're like, oh, yesterday was so nice and today's so gloomy. But why does it have to be like you lost something?
You're right. You're right.
I want you to change that about yourself.
Oh.
Change.
Okay, on with the recap.
Do you want to tell the Shandies why you're actually sad?
Oh, I read a bad review
Oh.
about me. They said they didn't like me. I go on too many tangents.
Oh, Andy, we love your tangents.
I'm not funny.
Oh, no.
They hate me.
They said hate?
No, I don't think they said hate.
But they said they don't
But
like
they
you.
definitely hate me.
They said that they like me and they don't like
They
you.
like you and they don't like me. It's even worse.
Oh.
Just kidding. No, it's glad. At least it's half good.
No, but a lot of people like you and don't like me.
That's true.
They like you and they can't stand my laugh.
That's
so
true.
there you go.
It's true. And then I thought about it more, and I feel like I should celebrate it.
Oh,
Because
because
without those bad reviews, you're doing something wrong.
yes.
Because the fact is, we have been inundated
Yes, with lovely.
by beautiful reviews,
Well, that's
like
huge.
too beautiful to even talk about.
Yeah,
I can't.
no, it's upsetting.
It's make me upset
It's honestly
how beautiful
upsetting.
they
Yeah.
are.
Well, isn't that interesting that instead of focusing on the beautiful ones, it's human nature.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like I can't process the good ones. I'm like, oh, that's like it's too lovely.
Right.
I'm not worthy. And then I focus on the bad one, and I must have some self-loathing that I focus on that and deem that to be true.
Well, it was like yesterday when we went to that place. It was so beautiful and mystical and magical that we couldn't process it. It reached a level where it's like we don't understand it anymore.
Yes.
But yet, on the way back, when we wanted to get a snack, we had a Caesar salad, which we thought was gross, and we talked about that for a while.
Yeah.
So
It's so
we
true.
found more fault in the Caesar salad, and we stopped talking about the majesty of the beauty because we couldn't even. We were just like, it's too much.
We did max out. It's like going and playing with puppies, and eventually you're just like, I can't process any more cuteness. Wow. Speaking of tangents, what we're doing is we're weeding out the non-real Shandies.
That's right.
here.
That's it. There's one left. Get out.
Okay, so let's get going, Andy. Recapping. Episode 5 picks up with a cold open. First, we never talk about cold opens, but we're going to talk about this one because Joan pulls Mark to talk and the men are like, oh, I'm sure it's something good, which means it's something bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so we open the actual episode with Pascal steaming his clothes in his underwear.
I mean, the guy's packing heat.
And it's cute how he says he misses his friends. He lost 4 roommates in one night the night before, and he's just steaming his shirt alone. It would get lonely.
Yeah.
It would
But the good news is he's learning how to steam his own shirts.
He doesn't have Greg there anymore to do his laundry. Chock and his ITM said,
are we not going to talk about how ripped Pascal is?
we've already talked about how ripped Pascal
I think
is.
it needs another mention.
Okay, I mean he's unbelievably ripped.
Okay, moving on.
And he's ripped in a way that's like only partly hard work.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of just the way he looks.
Yes.
I don't know if he works out that much.
I'm getting a sense from Pascal that he's also just won the genetic lottery.
Yeah.
There's a bit of that. Chock in his ITM says that every week Joan gets more and more attractive. And for some reason I took note of this because I find the word attractive isn't that a boomer word to you?
Kind of. Attractive.
Attractive. Oh, she's very attractive.
Yeah, that is a boomery word.
Yeah. Like my dad will say that. Attractive.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Is it physical or is it personality or both?
It's everything. And I like it because I think it goes beyond hot.
Yeah.
Or she's beautiful.
She's attractive. She attracts people.
Yeah, she's magnetic.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Keith is overthinking about overthinking.
Keith is drowning. He's drowned.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get there.
Keith is at the bottom of the pool.
So Joan and Trista chat now. Reliable Trista.
Yeah.
She's very versatile. I mean, she can show up on Bachelorette, Golden Bachelorette. I mean, what season can't she show up on?
Talk about like she's been going for what, 20 years now?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. That's a good milk.
That's a good milk. Milk and good and
Strong
heavy.
teat.
Joan wonders how to go all in. She's struggling to just surrender herself to this. And Trista says her biggest regret from the experience was not sharing more. And Trista reminds Joan that John, so Joan's late husband, would be happy that Joan is happy. And then once again, we get a taste of Joan's guilt. She definitely carries a lot of guilt. And I think that this is really relatable and in a way a lovely sentiment. But I actually am starting to feel it hold not only Joan back, but the season back.
Yeah. And I totally get the guilt.
Oh, absolutely.
I could put myself in her shoes. I totally can imagine what she's feeling. And it's very valid.
Yes.
Extremely valid.
Yes.
Yet it is detracting from the show.
I think so. To be honest, I found this episode a little, I don't know how to describe it. It wasn't like it was a beautiful episode in some ways. It was touching in some ways, but it lacked a kind of like punch that for me, I feel I can only get from a lead who I'm really feeling is becoming deeply invested emotionally in at least one relationship, if not two or three, to make things really interesting. And while Joan will say the words, she'll be like, yeah, I can picture a future with him. She's
going through the motions.
Do you think?
I don't know if
I feel harsh saying that.
It's not. It's not an insult. I'm not judging her. I'm just saying that whether it's the editing or not, it feels to me like Joan is going through the motions.
Yeah, she's not emotionally like. She doesn't wear her emotions on her sleeve the way, say, Gary did. Like, I feel like Golden Bachelor, one of the things that made that season so powerful was Gary was. He was impossible to tell. That's why we were joking that he was like evil and had bodies beneath his floorboards because we really truly couldn't tell who he was picking between two or three women, which makes the show exciting. But with Joan, it's almost like, I don't know if she wants to pick anyone. That's how it feels to me.
It almost feels, and I don't, again, nothing against Joan. She's in a situation that's uncomfortable and she carries a lot of guilt. I don't blame her, but it almost feels like she's doing everyone a favor by continuing through with this process.
Oh, I kind of know what you mean. It's almost like I did sign up for this.
Yeah, I made my bed. I'm going to sleep in it.
Yeah.
I'm an adult. I'm a responsible adult. I'm going to go through this process, but I don't get the feeling that she's like, I am so lucky to be here. Like, I can't wait to find this person.
I think she feels lucky.
I think she feels lucky for the experience. I don't
agree.
know if she feels lucky for the process. I don't know if she feels lucky like I'm going to find this person and I'm going to go with them and I'm going to find love again.
Yeah.
I think it's more like, let me get through this the best I can. And maybe in the end, who knows, maybe I will find love, but I don't know if she's really embracing the goal right now.
Do you think there's a chance that they had to convince Joan to be Golden Bachelorette? I actually think there is a good chance.
I don't think she jumped at it. Put it that way.
Interesting. Yeah. It's starting to, for me, reach a certain kind of head because I've noticed early on that I felt Joan was very like just reticent in the role. And I think that it's super relatable. Like in a way, I really love this about her. I love how not like TV ready she is. Like the way Gary was almost too TV ready. It's like, who is this guy? Like, where has he been? What movies has he secretly been in kind of thing? While Joan is so not a performer in that way. But it's reaching a point now where like we're looking at hometowns. Like this is, purportedly going to end with a proposal. I've said for weeks that I'm like, okay, I haven't seen romance, but I get that it's going to build. I get that friendship comes first. It's reaching a point where I'm like, Really? Like Guy is getting a hometown. Like I don't see romance anywhere.
I agree.
And I think that a lot of it is her guilt.
Yeah.
I think that she's carrying a lot of it. And I think it says something.
Especially since it's one thing if it's behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Like she's going on dates with guys, she's taking them home. Like she could do whatever she wants. The guilt is less public.
Yeah.
But she's in the public eye now. Her guilt is not only internal, it's external. She feels probably like she's being judged.
Oh,
and it's
really
hard.
Hate that.
It's a tough situation.
Yeah.
And I feel for her, but I also don't feel like the show is really as good as it should be right now because of her reticence.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. For me, this is the episode where I was sort of like, chugga, chugga, chugga.
Yeah, exactly. Chugga. Guy. And look, I do have Guy in my top. I think I have him second now. Yeah, I had him second last week.
Okay.
Have I ever had a guy second who's gotten this little interaction of the romantic nature with the lead?
Yeah.
Like I only have Guy second because it feels like Guy should be second.
Agreed.
For some reason, I don't even know why.
I know.
Like he's just the guy,
He's just the guy. He's like good on paper.
Yeah.
I agree.
Like if I looked at the resumes without Joan being involved, I'd be like, yeah, Guy's number 2.
Totally. No, that's what I'm still going off of. Yeah. Truly.
And the only kernel we have, the only real connection we feel, and I say we because I think everyone thinks the same thing, is Chock.
Yes.
Like if it weren't for Chock, I'd feel like Joan is like just talking to producer. She's like, listen to me. I'm going to get through this, but I just want you to know I'm not down.
Yeah.
Like this is not working for me emotionally.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get through this because I agreed to do it, but I want you to know I'm done. If it weren't for Chock, I would feel like that's happening.
Yes. Thank God for Chock.
Yeah.
It's Chock o'clock.
It's Chock o'clock. And we've gotten some heat with her and Chock.
Yeah.
Maybe she's just like, you know what? It's Chock and I don't want to deal with anything else.
Yeah.
Maybe Chock is such a front runner that she's done.
Yeah, she's maybe pulling a Claire Crawley.
She's pulling a Claire Crawley.
Yeah, where she can't fake it.
Yeah.
Which in a way I do respect. Like I kind of think that's great, but I'd almost wish she'd go further, a la Claire Crawley.
And you know what? Honestly, to be perfectly honest with you, to take a step further, as a more mature woman, I would say that would be probably the course of action. If you were like, as a younger woman, it's kind of like, or a younger man, or anyone who's a young person, it's kind of like the game becomes the game. Like you're like, I'll play the game.
Yeah.
Let's play the game. It's fun. As an older woman or an older man, it's kind of like, you know what? I like this guy. This is weird. Yeah. This is too weird. This is not a thing I'm going to do.
I'm starting to feel that. Like she feels awkward about leading anyone on.
Right.
Like a good example, we'll talk about it later, is her date with Keith, where it just felt
it's rough.
It was so rough. And her date with Mark.
Oh,
my, this is a rough episode,
Maybe
actually.
2 of the roughest dates.
Yeah. Okay, so at the mansion, Keith does get that one-on-one date. They ride in a helicopter.
Also, can I just ask the question? Why Keith? Why is he getting a one-on-one date? What have we seen of Keith? She just had one really awkward conversation with him recently.
Yeah, well,
he got the first impression rose, but nothing's happened since then.
Nothing.
But he gets a date. And we're supposed to...
You're right. It almost feels like required. In some ways, I wish the show... And I say this with a love because I love that this show does this. I love these Golden Bachelorette. Like I love the concept of it, but I feel that they're almost a little too confined by their own structure. Yeah. Because to me, I think it's very obvious that with Joan's personality, this week should have been second one-on-ones only.
I agree.
She should not have gone on a date with Mark, and she should not have gone on a date with Keith.
I completely agree.
Period. She should have been Chock and the other person of her choosing, probably Guy, I suppose, or Jordan. I would have loved to see another one with either Jordan or Pascal or Guy. Just something so I could feel more invested in the relationship. Yeah. Instead, we watched just awkwardness.
Well, the thing about the show is that's wrong. Is there has to be something wrong with all game shows. There's always a problem.
Yes.
And the problem with the Bachelor franchise is that the cuts aren't big enough.
Yes.
Like in reality, if this wasn't a show, you were just like, okay, these are 27 guys that I have to choose from. 24 of them, goodbye.
Yes.
And now you have 8 weeks of 3 guys.
I mean, I've been saying this for years. Right. I've been saying this.
You've been saying this for years. It's true. But since they don't do that, they have to work around this construct and be like, now you have to go on a date with this guy, even though you don't really like him that much. And that's the problem. But the Keith thing really, the Keith and the Mark, which we'll get to, really shone a light on how ridiculous the construct becomes
Yes.
if the lead has kind of written off everybody
100% and is not really good at faking it, which Joan is not.
Joan is not.
Even their greeting in front of the helicopter, it felt like it was the second time they were ever meeting.
You know what all of her interactions feel like? They feel a little bit like work lunches.
Yes.
Where you like, it's totally professional. You're like, sit down, you're like, oh, hi, yeah. Oh, you work in human resources? Yeah. That was great.
Oh, yeah, there was something. There's a reason why we're meeting today. So I wanted to talk
let's
about
talk
this
that
thing
fourth quarter report. You know, you say, tell a couple of jokes, you talk about the weather, then you talk about the fourth quarter report.
Totally.
And that's it.
Yes.
And you have dessert and you're like, oh, so where are you going now? Oh, I'm taking the subway. Oh, I'm taking the bus. Okay, bye.
It's a friendly work lunch. Yes.
Yeah, and then maybe you kiss and you're like, well, what are you kissing me for? We're having a work lunch. Take it easy. Speaking of human resources. Pharmacy, farm fresh ingredients for you and me. Pharmacy, for your skin and for your life.
Okay. Aren't jingles supposed to rhyme? Not today. That is passé.
Yeah.
This is a modern jingle. And pharmacy is farm fresh ingredient marrying clinically proven results with farm fresh ingredients to make skincare that, to be honest, you know, if you're thinking farm fresh, you would want to eat farm fresh food. Yeah. Why wouldn't you want to put farm fresh ingredients on your skin?
You're feeding your skin.
You are.
Your skin needs to be fed.
Yes.
Just like your stomach. Same thing.
So Pharmacy is truly one of my favorite skincare lines. I actually had been purchasing Pharmacy with my own money. Before they became a Dear Shandy sponsor, I'd been buying it at my local shop. I love that they use actual pure honey from a family-operated bee farm in California.
Oh, come on.
They infuse that into their moisturizer, their Halo moisturizer. Also, their hydrating essence is my holy grail. It's my go-to toner now, like my hydrating toner for that dewy look. And I just love their stuff. You get results with it, but they use sustainable packaging. It's all eco-conscious. It's just like a feel-good brand. And who doesn't want to support a skincare line that not only feels good, but does good?
Yes, Pharmacy is partnered with Feeding America to reduce food waste.
That's nice.
Nice.
They didn't have to do that.
And they have farm in the name. That's all you need.
So drench your skin in honey hydration.
Visit pharmacybeauty.com and use code Shandy for 20% off your order.
That's 20% off your order with code Shandy at Pharmacy Beauty, FARMACY beauty.com.
So Sharleen, Sundays it's probably going to hate us for this, but this is a bag of Sundays, not in the Sundays bag.
Sundays food for dogs. They are one of our favorite new sponsors. We absolutely love them. And I think it says everything that we have brought Sundays across an ocean to Ireland.
This is dog food that deserves to cross an ocean.
Yes.
This is not only one of our favorite sponsors, this is one of my favorite companies I've come across in my life.
Yeah.
Your dog deserves to eat something that's not absolutely disgusting.
Yes.
Something that's healthy, something that's made with love and science.
Yeah. So Sundays is fresh dog food made from a very short list of human grade ingredients that is then air dried. So you have the health factor of fresh dog food, but you have the convenience of kibble. And that is massive. When we brought Ruby on the red eye to come to Ireland, Sundays was an absolute godsend.
If you have a dog and you do a lot of traveling, this is your thing.
Even if you don't travel a lot, honestly, the convenience factor of not having to refrigerate, freeze. Well, we've done the fresh dog food thing. Yeah. It takes up so much space in your freezer. And in our Manhattan freezer, let me tell you, there was a while where I would say 60 to 70% of our freezer space was being taken up by Ruby's frozen dog food. Yep. Sundays has totally transformed the way we feed Ruby. Plus, this is the cherry on top. She loves it.
Well, that's the thing. You'd think there'd be some sacrifice. Like, well, I get all that. The dog's not going to really like it that much. They'll eat it, but that's what's their dogs. They eat anything.
Yeah.
No, dogs love this.
Yes.
And it gives Ruby more energy than I've seen from any other food we give her.
Totally. And Sundays, by the way, was founded by a practicing veterinarian, and the formulas are 90% meat, 10% superfoods, and 0% synthetic nutrients and artificial ingredients.
This is full disclosure. Yeah. I've looked at these little bits and I've often been tempted to taste one.
If it were a dire situation, not even that dire.
No, not that dire. Like maybe if I forgot to eat breakfast. So get 40% off your first order of Sundays.
Go to sundaysfordogs.com/Shandy or use code Shandy at checkout. Okay, so they do the requisite helicopter ride over the mansion in order, I think, to make Chock jealous.
Yes.
Because by the way, I think I've mentioned this before, but producers around their mansion are like, hey guys, like let's all go for a swim. Like let's all be outside. And then the guys are swimming. They're in the pool. They're forced to be in the pool. So they're all swimming in the pool at the same time that day. And then it's like, oh, look up into the sky. Who do you think that is in that helicopter?
You know what this reminds you of? You know the limes you get? Sometimes you get a lime and there's no juice in it.
Oh.
That's most limes I get now. It's like you can barely get any juice out of it.
In the States, because here they are juicy and wonderful.
The limes here are excellent.
Yes.
Oh, go figure. Another thing that's amazing in Ireland.
Yes.
But it's like they're trying to juice a lime that has no juice in it of drama.
Yes.
That's it. They're just one drop of drama out of this dry lime.
Yes.
And there's nothing.
Yeah. Well, Chock is the closest thing
Chock
they're
is
getting.
that one sad drip you get out of a dry lime.
Well, because he is so invested in her.
He's invested. And the drama is like what? Him being like a little curmudgeonly about something?
Slightly, barely.
And not even...
I don't even think he really was. It was just the camera held on his face. And after a second of a camera being on your face, anyone would look kind of like, oh. Like maybe he just wanted to get out of the pool.
It's incredible. Honestly, I feel like productions probably asked cast members to just go up to someone and punch them in the face.
So Keith says he's on cloud like 11.
Aww.
And they go to a winery to do a wine tasting. Okay, here's the question. Do we think, how cynical are we? Do we think that the powers that be knew that the couple owning this winery have been married for 32 years, which is the exact number of years that Joan was married to John?
Yes.
You think they knew that?
They did. You know, it's possible that they found that out and were like deciding between 2 or 3 wineries, and they're like, "Oh, that's the one."
How long has that couple been married?
Yeah. It's a little weird to like pick the winery based on how long the couple's been married. I'm not sure how that happened, but I think part of it had to do with how long they've been married.
You think that it was not a coincidence that Joan asked the couple how many years they've been married? Which, by the way, I don't go around asking couples that.
And I'll be honest with you.
Especially not on a first real date.
I'll also be honest with you. I'm not 100% sure they were married for 32 years. They look pretty young.
Also, they didn't look like, I don't know. There was something about
Maybe they weren't even married. They may have not even known each other.
This couple, they were an interesting choice. I think they were chosen for their 32-year marriage.
I think you're probably right.
And I say that because they weren't really like that charismatic.
No.
They really weren't. Didn't have. It's like, how long have you been married? And she was like, 32 years.
Like, okay, get out of here.
She was a little cold. They were a little cold, in my opinion, for this particular role.
So they basically went around California trying to find a couple that owned a winery that were married for 32 years.
Okay, do we really think they wouldn't go that far?
Or wineries reached out and said, look, I know that you're looking for dates for this season. We happen to have been married for 32 years, which happens to be the same
we
number
did a little
of years.
digging. Oh, that's so sick.
Like, oh, thanks for looking out.
So sick.
All right.
Yeah, anyway, I don't think it was a okay, who cares?
These are the things we talk about when they're not giving us anything else.
It's true. It's not our fault.
It's not our fault.
We're just reporting the news.
This is the news.
So back at the mansion, we have a very morose orchestral score playing as Mark sort of putters around the mansion and saying he's losing hope. And then he opens up to Pascal and Jordan in what I think is one of the most touching scenes of this episode. And it's sort of a hidden camera. You notice that?
So
it doesn't
sweet.
They are aware that cameras are on them. But he tells them that Denise would stand with her hand open feeding hummingbirds. And he has since sort of like seen a hummingbird as being her. And then he saw a hummingbird that morning, which is kind of, I mean, a hummingbird is a lot rarer than a butterfly.
Can we talk just for a second? Can we take a break?
Not to diss the butterfly.
No, butterflies are amazing. But
yes.
Can we just talk about hummingbirds for 1 second?
Yeah.
To give the respect that they are owed.
Oh.
A hummingbird, one of the most incredible animals on earth.
Yes.
Hummingbird heart beats over 1,000 times a minute.
Unbelievable.
It flaps its wings 70 times a second.
Oh, that sounds exhausting. They have to eat constantly.
They eat half their weight a day minimum, every day. They can fly hundreds of miles in one clip. They can fly backwards, the only bird in the world. They can't walk.
They can't walk?
Cannot walk. Their legs are too spindly. They can barely support their own weight.
Wait, so they're forced to use those wings 24/7 to do anything?
Forced to use their wings 24/7. Their brain is more a percentage of their weight than any other wild bird. So they're smart and they have the most anxious physical makeup of any animal on Earth.
That sounds horrible.
It sounds like a nightmare, but they are the most spectacular little animal.
Yes.
And this is what else I want you to imagine. Imagine a baby hummingbird.
Oh,
Think about that.
Okay, that's going to give Ruby a run for her money in terms of cuteness.
A baby hummingbird.
That's
This
cute.
comes out of the size of like a jumping bean.
I know what I'm Googling after this.
Yeah, we should really do this.
Jumping bean.
I'm excited.
I find the fact that they can't walk to be particularly tragic.
Yeah, their legs are like it's like not even a toothpick. A toothpick would be like a stump compared to their legs.
Oh.
They're incredible. They fly backwards and up, left, right.
That's
down.
evolution gone too far. Just because you're so good at flying doesn't mean that you should lose the functionality of your legs.
Yeah. Hummingbird has got a rough deal, but also amazing.
Amazing. Yes. Okay. Wow. Thank you,
It's basically
Andy.
a bug.
Oh, Andy, we should have a segment. This should have a name, this segment.
Yeah.
Andy's Nature Talk.
Okay. I think we could think of something better than that, but I'm with it.
Who's on the spot? Okay, so here we get Word Watch 1. Jordan says, that's amazing. To Mark's hummingbird encounter. And Mark tells him that it has lifted a weight off his shoulders. He feels good. He thinks he's doing the right thing by being there at the mansion. So he saw it as a sign that he's where he should be. And actually, I think it was a sign personally. And I also think that he really should have been there. Because I think that this experience, speaking of the experience over like finding love thing, this is what this was about for him. Because can you imagine Mark just being thrown in the deep end as Golden Bachelor, which I feel like it was what America wanted? I think that would have been actually really messed up. Traumatic. He is not ready.
No.
And I think that I can picture a world in which he would agree to it and it being a very difficult experience.
I actually think Mark, had it not been for the fact that he was the father of a winner of a previous season.
Yeah.
I don't think that if he had applied for the show, he would have been picked, interestingly.
I agree. I don't think he's like...
He's not the material.
He's not.
And it's so interesting because he looks...
Yeah,
and he seems,
he's a movie star.
I mean, he's a movie star.
Yes.
But he looks and he sort of acts the part. He carries himself with a lot of confidence, quiet confidence, but he's not this show person.
Yeah.
He's not for this show. And I really see, honestly, I feel like Mark has aged during this show. No, I don't mean that. No, I it's not a bad thing.
Okay.
It's
like matured. Aged.
Oh.
Okay, let's hear how you turn this into a good thing.
Okay. No, I mean, it's been a rough go for him.
Yeah.
I think it's been really emotionally a lot.
But also a beautiful thing. Like, I think his friendships with the men, how he's cried. I was watching him talk to those guys, and I got a sense that he's been a family man for so long. He's got 5 children, and he's been raising them alone for the last...
There are 5 children?
5.
Really?
And I forget how many years since Denise died. I think 6
3
years.
of his own. And how does he have 5 children? He has 5 children?
I thought it was 5. Am I wrong? 5? Am I wrong?
Really? I thought it was 3. I think you might be right. I think it's 4, actually. I think we're both wrong.
Well, the Shandys will tell us because they tell us all. But I got the sense that he is, the strong father figure.
Yeah.
He's there for his kids, and he's probably an amazing dad, and he's had to really hold up the weight of everything on his own. And I don't picture him having like guy friends that he's like confiding in.
I agree.
With his emotions in this way.
I agree.
Yeah.
And he's been a lifelong military guy.
Yes.
Which also forces you to some degree to suppress your emotions. Tough
Totally.
situation for Mark.
Yeah.
And this has been a lot for him.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's fully ready for this.
Well, I agree with what Joan says later, personally.
Yeah, he needs some
episode.
time.
Yeah.
But this is a little bit of a baptism by fire, but this was a good way for him to step out and see the world.
Totally.
And I think good things are going to come for him, but you can see in this episode that Mark is like a fish out of water to some degree, and in the most complimentary way.
Yes, in an endearing way, especially with he's so beloved by the other men.
And it was brought us to tears. This little speech he gave about the hummingbird.
Well, now that Charles L is gone, it was Mark who made me cry in this episode.
Yeah.
So back on the date, we get Word Watch 2. Joan toasts to them, saying cheers to an amazing day. And already it's just it's cringe. Can I say that? And I say this with love because I think Keith is absolutely lovely. I think Joan is absolutely lovely. No one is not lovely. So I'm not criticizing these people as humans, but it's just cringy. He cheers saying he hopes to show her another side today. Andy, you said he's all thumbs. Even this, it felt so like apologetic.
Yeah,
already.
like I'll show you another side. It's like when you go into a store, like a salesman who's like, it's like, oh, I don't really like. It's like, oh, well, let me show you. I got something in the back. Yeah. It's not out here. We're not showing it.
Please stop.
Yeah.
It's so true. Like when if I go to a shop and I try something on, and I don't like it, and the person's like, well, we have it in another color, or we have it from this other brand, or blah, blah, blah. I'm like, get me out of here. The second they say it once, I'm like, get me out of here.
Yeah.
1 out of 100 times are you like, oh, actually, like I would like to try that on.
Or like a telemarketer who's got the script. You're like, oh, I'm not interested. And they're like, well, we have a lot of people who aren't interested.
Yeah.
But for those people, we have this thing. And you're like, wait a minute, I'm not interested in any of this.
Yes.
Like, no, but we have anything you want. Anything you need.
You want him to just show the other side of himself, not talk about... Not hoping that he'll show her the other side of himself. It really showed that Keith, I think, has been out of the dating game for a while. And I say this with affection. I think a lot of them are. But I almost feel that Keith getting the first impression rose was not a good thing for him.
Absolutely. He got a big head, but he didn't.
But I don't think he got a big head. I think he was just like, he kind of came in not expecting anything.
No, but I don't think he wanted a big head. Big head was forced on him.
I don't think he got a big head though.
But he did.
I think it messed with his head.
Right, but his head was enlarged.
Oh, I don't know if it was enlarged. It was just messed with. It was like discombobulated. I think he came in being like, I'm going to do a funny thing on a lark, this show, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Ha, ha, ha. I want to sit on the front of my station wagon and bring a bottle of wine to the beach,
right,
blah, blah, blah.
Suddenly he's like the leader.
Yeah, suddenly he's one to watch and he's like, I don't know how to court this woman.
Yeah, he was, well, you're right. It's not a big head. He was befuddled.
Yeah, I like befuddled.
Befuddled.
I'll take it. He reveals that he and his family haven't spoken to his ex-wife in 10 to 12 years. And the only medicine for addiction is the internal self. I thought this was really, very, it was landed. Yeah. But this conversation, so we go into it with her being like, oh, I know Keith is fun, but I'm hoping that there's more substance here. And then this is the substance we get, which frankly, I don't want to suggest we already knew this information, but we did know that he, pulled himself out of that marriage, because he was concerned about the safety of his daughters and blah, blah, blah. I just felt like it was more about his backstory and like the tragedy that he has endured, and I didn't feel connection. And then all of a sudden they were like kind of kissing like in these wine fields. And I was just like, make it stop, please.
And to go to bat for Joan for a second, like she's not having a connection with so many guys, but yet she's forced to kind of play the game.
Yes.
And so because of that, we're not really seeing Joan's personality.
I agree.
We're seeing her like nervous energy, kind of like, how do I navigate this weird situation? Like, I'm not really into this guy, but I'm supposed to be into this guy. I'm on TV.
Yes.
I'm guilty. So we're not seeing real Joan. The only time I feel like I've seen Joan, and this says a lot because we know Chock's winning now.
Yeah.
Is when she's curled up on the couch at the bowling day, which we'll get to. When she's sort of sitting there with her knees up, like a little girl next to Chock. I was like, that's Joan.
Oh,
Joan is there now.
Even that, I was struggling with that.
Yeah, but she's next to Chock. That's the guy she likes.
But she was like completely turned away from him and like curled up in a ball. It didn't feel like she was leaning into him, but I think it is because she was conscious of the other men being there.
I just felt like she was just chilling out. She was.
I mean, I do agree with the point you're making, which is that, we talk about being in the presence of someone who brings out your best self. We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
And I think it was Eli Harwood in our episode about attachment styles. I loved how she used this term limbic resonance. So how when you talk to someone who has the same, like you're on the same wavelength, that it's like a limbic resonance and you're both like lighting up. Your brains are lighting up. We're seeing that happen with her so little. And I think combined with the fact that she is harboring guilt over doing this at all, I think doesn't make for, I think, the shiniest, sparkliest version of her.
We don't know.
Which I do think exists.
I bet you if we like met Joan, we sat down, we had like a lunch with Joan.
Oh, we'd love her. We've all been there. We've all been there on a date with someone and in the first 5 minutes, this is going nowhere.
Yeah.
But how soon can you get away with ending a date? Because you don't want to be rude.
Yeah, well, imagine like one day you had like speed dates, but speed dates were each 2 hours, not 5 minutes. And it went all day. You woke up all day till 1 a.m.
That's rough.
And you had to stick through it. You couldn't leave.
So what's the soonest you've ever ended a date, knowing in the first 5 minutes that there was nothing there?
I was terrible at this.
What did you do?
I always feel like it was disrespectful to end the date early.
Okay.
I would just stick it out and kind of be like, kind of looking around, like avoiding like heavy eye contact.
Yeah.
Seeming like I was kind of, distracted.
Yeah.
And then eventually be like, all right, well, what do you say?
What's this?
What do you say?
What is this?
I'm like, what?
Nice
I don't
meeting
know,
you.
Yeah. I would honestly, what would happen is I would just get really awkward.
Okay, same.
Yeah. And
Same.
I would just be like, this is, I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know what to do with my head.
Yeah.
And eventually I think the person I was with would get the hint and, there'd be a mutual understanding. We get the check and be done with it.
Okay. Yeah.
I was terrible at that. You know what? There's certain things that I've never learned how to do in my life. And now I will never learn because I'm married to you. I will never learn how to gracefully end any relationship, whether it's 5 seconds or a year.
Well,
I'm not good at it.
And I don't think anyone's good at it. That's sort of the thing. If you're good at that, that's messed up.
That's
you know
true.
who I think's good at that?
Psychos.
You know who I think's good at that from
Who?
this cast? Guess.
Oh, ending things quickly?
Yeah.
Oh, who's on the cast now?
Yeah.
Still on the cast.
Yes.
Okay.
Da 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 da.
Guy?
No.
Oh, who's good at it is what's his name? The guy I didn't have in my top 4.
Jordan?
Yeah.
That's not who I think.
I
think Jordan's probably awkward.
Oh, Pascal.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
of course, Pascal.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds. I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
But this is
not working
This is
for
not
me.
working. This is
Yeah,
no
yeah,
good. But
yeah,
you're
but-
a wonderful person.
Yeah, we
Okay,
will stay
goodbye.
friends.
Goodbye.
We will
I
stay
go now. I
friends.
leave.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
I think Pascal is expert level at ending things quickly.
Yeah. He ends it so quick, and all you think about for the rest of your life is Pascal.
The whole thing is kind of funny, isn't it? The fact that you spend time with another human hoping to like maybe make this connection you're gonna become each other's like soulmates.
Yeah.
And instead you're like not into each other, but you don't know how to tell each other this. It's, kind of hurtful information, but you both are probably feeling the same way. It's just a funny
It's
dynamic.
a weird thing.
It's
You
a funny
both
thing.
know, like you can read each other's minds. Like there's this subtext conversation going on. You're both like, yeah, we don't like each other, but we're not going to say it.
Yeah.
Who's going to say it first?
Yeah.
No one's going to say it. We're just going to slowly
They
walk
just drift
into
off.
the bushes.
Yes. Homer Simpson style.
Yeah.
Okay, so going on this group date are Guy, Jordan, Jonathan, Pascal, and Chock, meaning Mark will be getting that one-on-one date. And it was so cute how Pascal got up and hugged him. I don't know if I would have expected these two to be the
I
closest
agree.
friend, like best friends in the house. I don't know. It's sort of unexpected for some
I
reason.
totally agree. I like Pascal. Pascal's really grown on me more than I expected him to.
I had a moment last night watching this episode where I decided. So last week we said that we thought Guy could be Golden Bachelor. And then we heard unfortunate news that made it kind of impossible. But also, I no longer think that for a variety of reasons. I think it could be Pascal.
I think you're right.
Think about it. He's the
you're right.
right age.
Yeah.
He's got the look. He's got the personality.
Yeah.
He could carry a season.
Oh, totally.
People like him.
Yeah.
We just saw enough from Pascal in this episode that wasn't just him being debonair. It was like him being a likable guy around the house. And I was like, oh my God.
I think
it
you're
Pascal?
right. I think Pascal's the next Bachelor. And I did think it was Guy until the news came out.
Yeah. And it's not, but to be honest, it's not only the news that makes me think it's not Guy. The more I think about it, I just don't think Guy is suave enough.
It's Jonathan, Pascal.
Jonathan's too young.
Jonathan's too young.
I think Jordan's
That's
too
right.
young.
It's cheating.
I think if a guy is 60, 61, I'm sorry, he's not Golden
You're
Bachelor.
absolutely right. Pascal's the guy.
He's 69 years old. He's the oldest one there.
Yeah.
He's close to being Gary's age. I mean, 3 years away.
Pascal's the next Bachelor.
I mean, I would watch that.
That would be a show.
Uh-huh.
That would be a show.
Yes.
You'd get to see Pascal love and break up with women.
we could all learn from his artistry.
Yeah.
I also think he'd be really good at sort of playing the field and basically keeping us off the scent. Like we'd be hard to
totally.
know who he was really into.
And I'm going to say something else. That fantasy suite would be a heavy week.
Yes.
I mean, Pascal would be ripping in.
Yeah. No, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I hope we're right about that.
So Sharleen, I have a bottle here.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what's in this bottle?
I do know what's in this bottle, but you should tell the Shandies what's in that bottle.
Oh.
Oh, are there people
I
here?
didn't realize they were here. Yeah. Oh, hi guys. Anyway, what's in this bottle is my Prose shampoo, which goes with me wherever we travel, no matter what ocean we cross. This bottle of Prose is always with me. Think about that. Think about it.
Even when Andy goes and gets a haircut, he brings his Prose custom made to order shampoo.
This shampoo was made for me. On the bottle of this shampoo, the original bottle, not this one, because I'm not that vain, it says Andrew's shampoo.
Seriously, bespoke hair care is the kind of thing that once you start, you're like, why hasn't this been around forever?
And the scalp, I will say, in my experience, is the most finicky skin of the body.
So with Prose, you fill out their online hair consultation where you talk about what your hair is like. You know, the basics, but also the not so basics, like your zip code. They ask for your zip code because they take into account the climate where you live, the water hardness where you live. All these things affect your hair and how it performs. So cool. And they use a combination of in-house chemists with an AI algorithm to take into account 80 plus different factors when formulating your bespoke hair care. And let me tell you, you can feel the difference and you can see the difference.
And you can smell the difference because it is bespoke right down to the fragrance.
Yes.
You choose.
Yes.
They don't choose. They don't say, oh, you like flowers and citrus. No, I say I don't like flowers and citrus. I want something else.
Yeah. You can get fragrance free, which I just think says it all. To me, that encompasses what Prose is about. It's not about their vanity, you know, of like having a good smelling whatever or a beautiful bottle. It's like, no, your name is on this. And if you don't want a fragrance, there is no fragrance because that's what you need. Your scalp needs.
Isn't that the goal of human life? Is to have everything bespoke for you?
Yes.
So Prose is so confident they'll bring out your best hair
that they're offering an exclusive trial offer of 50% off your first hair care subscription when you go to prose.com/dearshandy.
So take your free consultation and get your one-of-a-kind formulas.
And see the difference custom hair care can make with 50% off at prose.com/dearshandy. All right. I took my Fatty 15. My fatty.
Yes, your C15 fatty acid supplement.
Indeed. The first essential fatty acid to be discovered in 90 years. 90 years. That's insane. And it has been proven to be 3 times better, broader, and safer than omega-3.
And a new study has come out about the first new nutritional deficiency in 75 years.
Yes. Cellular fragility syndrome, which is caused by a lack in the essential fatty acid C15. And the reason why this matters to you, why you should care, because everyone's like, okay, whatever, essential fatty acid.
Words.
Yeah, it's just they're hearing us. They're like, blah, 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 like the parents from Peanuts. No, so the reason you really should care about this is as many as 1 in 3 people worldwide may have low C15. And this affects you in that it can accelerate aging-related breakdown and impair your metabolic, liver, and heart health.
Ooh, that doesn't sound good. And by the way, omega-3 fish oil supplements usually go bad before they ever leave the bottle.
Meanwhile, Fatty 15 protects against damaging oxidization. Oxidization is huge, by the way, usually bad. It protects against oxidization both in the bottle and in your body.
Who wants fragile cells?
No.
That sounds terrible.
No, you want your cells to be strong.
Strong, impenetrable. C15 is a sturdy fat that helps keep our cells strong.
And when our cells do not have enough C15, they become fragile and age faster. So Fatty 15 is on a mission to replenish your C15 levels and restore your long-term health.
Right now, you can get an additional 15% off their 90-day subscription starter kit
by going to fatty15.com. That's fatty15.com/Shandy and using code Shandy at checkout.
Don't be batty. Take your fatty.
Okay, so the men all think they're bowling based on the group day card, and they end up being right. We get a cute discussion about how banged up they all are from kickball.
Yeah.
And now the bowling thing. Turns out Pascal has only ever bowled once.
Yeah.
I was actually shocked by this.
I don't think France doesn't do a lot of bowling.
So bowling is like a North American thing?
I think it is, yeah.
Anyway, everyone is pretty decent at this. Like, really decent.
Yeah, really good bowlers.
And Chock, this is the one point of drama. It's like really weak. Chock strategizes. He's on Joan's team. He whispers in her ear, "Can I just take you home with me?" He asks what side of the bed she sleeps on.
No.
Ooh. And the men seem to notice. And then when Joan goes up to do her turn, Guy directly whispers to Chock, "Chock, give her some time with these others."
Oh, drama.
He says it with like a big friendly grin.
Yeah, I know.
I actually liked that Guy did this.
Yeah, me too.
I like this about Guy. Yeah. Guy is very much like the fair is fair.
Absolutely.
And Jonathan now has some one-on-one time. Turns out his mother was on a show called Bowling for Dollars.
I remember that show.
Do you?
Vaguely.
So what happens? You bowl really well and you win money?
Bowl for dollars.
You bowl for dollars.
Yeah, it's exactly. The name is very accurate.
He shows some old photos of him with his kids. I mean, Jonathan's such a sweetheart. But I will say this was starting to lose its romantic feel. The spark that was barely ever there to begin with. Pascal has one-on-one time, but even this felt formal to me. Jordan's one-on-one time to me felt slightly more familiar. Like a slightly more like, maybe we've been romantically interested in each other for a split second.
We may have made out one night at a party.
It's kind of weak. It's kind of weak, isn't it?
It's very weak.
Guy has one-on-one time. He says there's one variable that's constant, and that's her. He hasn't been this happy in years. And in his ITM, he says it's the first time since his marriage, he feels like he could be falling in love. And even though this, I feel like, was supposed to have a big impact, I was kind of like, why?
Yeah, why? What's happened?
What has happened?
We didn't see anything. Did we see something?
No, tell me, did we fall asleep? Yeah. This to me just I kept getting lost in this episode, and I don't want to be. I want to love this show, and I have been loving it. I don't mean to make it sound like I don't like this show anymore, but it almost feels like there's too much left on the cutting room floor from a storytelling perspective for him to suddenly be like, there's one variable, there's one constant, it's you. I can picture myself, blah blah blah. Like just last week, we saw them like barely share a peck in her kitchen. You know,
I think at this point, production knows what they're doing. Okay. I don't think they've been given anything. I just don't think it's there to cut or not cut.
That's totally possible. Chock with Joan, they talk about going home to an empty home when in the past you've had a full home. Mm-hmm. So like all family around. And I thought this really hit.
Yeah.
This does seem sad.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was really trying to fill those shoes, and that seems very, very glum.
Yes, to have had a taste of it and to have then lost it. This is heartbreaking.
I never really thought about that much.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah. Them verbalizing this was actually helpful for me, and it really just hit home. It just seems really sad. And she says she has wondered if it's selfish to want that twice in one life. Chock says he sees a beautiful future for them. He sees them together. She says she sees a future with him, and it's been obvious for a while. They kiss, and I mean, who can beat this guy?
No
Who's
one.
coming even close? Like, it's almost boring because it's so obvious.
Well, you know what I think? It's possible that there has been more romantic fireworks between the two of them, but the editors decided not to do it.
I think that's possible.
Because it's too much.
Yeah.
They don't have anything else.
Yeah.
You think they wouldn't put something in with Guy or Pascal that was like really like, oh my God, look at these two. No, they don't have it.
Yeah.
And they have it with Chock, and they're choosing not to put it in there.
They're downplaying it.
Yeah.
There are no roses on this date now. And I've got a lot of criticism for the show in this recap. But personally, I think that this was the date where there should have been one rose to give away. Because I know in the past, like for my season, for example, there were no roses on the final one-on-ones going into hometowns, but there was one rose given away on the group date. And I think that rose makes things very interesting. It makes people get ants in their pants. And I think that there should have been a rose on this group date. Personally, that's my personal opinion. Just saying. So Mark now gets this one-on-one, lots of build-up, and it's cute how the men all whistle at him dressed up, and him dressed up is really not that dressed. Mark, I will say, sartorially speaking, I think could benefit from a friendship with Pascal.
Yes.
And I say this with love.
Yes.
Like we've discussed, I think he's been busy parenting, but Mark could be like a full-blown stud.
Oh my God.
And I think he almost dresses the way he feels about himself. Like he has low confidence.
Yeah, you'd think that guy would have all the confidence in the world.
Yeah. But I think he carries himself with low confidence. And it's sad. I find his story to be really tragic, but it's not like he was left. It's not like his wife was like, oh, you know what I mean? It sounds like they had a beautiful love. I don't know. He carries himself like someone who's been rejected a lot.
You know what I think he is I think he's sad.
Yeah.
I think Mark is very sad.
Mark is sad.
And I feel bad for him.
And doesn't it almost feel like the men seem to know this about him? Like they almost seem to understand that he's sad.
Yeah, he needs a lift.
And they're all like, oh, look at our boy all grown up.
Yeah.
And Pascal's like, you have a beautiful smile. You should keep smiling. Like, oh my God, how
He's
sweet.
Such a sympathetic character.
He really is.
And the guys are so nice to him. It's really nice to see.
Yes.
Especially Pascal.
Oh, the whole Pascal Mark thing.
Yeah. It's almost like he's his son. Did you get that feeling like Mark's Pascal's son?
Yes, I do get that feeling. So Joan takes Mark in a red convertible. While in her ITM, Joan says that they haven't gotten there yet. They're still formal with each other. This actually reminded me in these K shows that I watch. They always talk about like, should we be formal with each other, like, or stop being formal with each other? Like, there's a different salutation.
Yeah,
like it would change how you speak to each other.
Interesting.
I guess it's like tu and vous in French or something like that.
Yeah. I still am not 100% sure what's going on with tu and vous.
Well, you say tu if you're really...
Yeah, but what does it even mean? Informal versus formal. Like, what about a stranger? Do you call a stranger vous?
Yeah.
But so why is it formal with a stranger? Oh, because you
don't know each other.
You don't know each other.
Yeah.
So informal. Oh, right. I got it wrong.
You got it there.
Yeah, I was thinking more of like a sign of respect. Like if you're talking, let's say, like I know your mother very well, but I wouldn't call your mother too, would I?
I think there comes a point where maybe you would.
Yeah?
I don't know.
It's weird.
Yeah, I find it interesting that English doesn't have that, because I would think English would have that out of all the idiosyncrasies that a language can have. Anyway, they ride on a yacht. They're on a yacht, on a beautiful yacht. And after the excitement of being on a yacht subsides, they proceed to sit in virtual silence.
Yeah. Sad yacht.
It was just rough.
Yeah.
So we see a shot of Joan like throwing back her champagne and checking to see if he's had more of his. Oh God, these two. Mark is super nice, but Andy, as you put it, he feels emotionally diluted.
Yeah.
What's interesting about Mark is that emotional dilution reminds me a little bit of Joey. And I say this with love because we loved Joey as Bachelor.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting that Kelsey, Mark's daughter, went for Joey.
Yeah.
Who I think shares a similarity.
Similar vibe.
With,
Joey just doesn't have the heartbreak.
No, he hasn't been as like...
He hasn't been through it.
Yes, in the same way that...
Kid.
He's younger.
It's a very interesting thing you say.
He carries a similar sort of low self-esteem or self-worth with him that I feel Mark carries. And Kelsey, meanwhile, is a bright light. Like Kelsey, I think, lifts up those around her. Mm-hmm. And I think I said last week or the week before that I felt that Mark and Joan are too similar in that they're both people that need someone else to kind of be the bright light for them.
Yeah.
And I feel that way even more now after seeing this date. Like they need someone else. They need like a breath of fresh air in their lives.
You ever been in a group of 3 people?
Okay.
Where everyone's getting along and it's great and the dynamic's great, and then one person leaves and the 2 people are left and they're just like...
I have 100% been in that situation.
Yeah.
And it's shocking. You know, I once went on a date in high school with a guy who, in a dynamic of 3 or more, was that person. Like he was sort of like so fun and exciting. And then he asked me on a date and I was like, yeah, I'll go on a date with you. Then we went on a date with just the 2 of us and it was like,
oh yeah.
He feeds off the
crowd. Wow. That's amazing. How do you do that? Is it tongue?
Yeah.
Yeah, your horse is the only thing that's better.
My horse. Anyway, that date was really like, I realized how different people can be in a different dynamic and with different parties. And one-on-one sometimes is like...
Yeah, some people feed off the crowd. They need the crowd.
Yes. Okay, so in the scavenger hunt, they have to say, never have I ever. She says she's never seen the Northern Lights. And he says he's never woken up in the middle of the night to feed a baby.
First of all, I give them points for the most random things they've never seen or done.
Yeah.
Well, what's with those 2 things?
I don't know. My takeaway from that was that men have it easy.
Well, first of all, also, I've never seen the Northern Lights. That's got to be the most boring answer to this question ever. The whole point of never is like, I've never done something like weird.
Yeah.
Or sexual.
Or something that I should have done.
Or something that I should have done.
Yes.
Not seeing the Northern Lights. It's like, I've never, ever, won the lottery.
Yeah. Never have I ever, it should be like, never have I ever seen The Godfather.
Right. Yeah.
Which is that it's like, what? You've never seen The Godfather?
It has to be embarrassing.
Yeah.
I've never seen the Northern Lights. Like, Yeah, welcome to the crowd. Like
Yeah.
9 out of 10 people haven't seen the Northern Lights. Who
Yeah,
cares?
I will say it didn't create much of a conversation starter because he was like, like, neither have I.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Northern Lights. Very hard to see these days.
And they talk about saying, I love you first. Who would say it first? And they both are like, oh, I would probably say it second.
This is one of the worst days I've ever seen.
This is so rough. It's so
Terrible.
rough. And I feel bad saying that because they're both such lovable human beings.
I feel bad for Mark. I
felt more bad for Joan. She was working so hard on this date.
This is the job she's chosen.
Oh, Joan was working her ass off.
She was working her ass off.
She was working harder than she's ever worked before on this date.
She really was working.
He says this experience has given him the confidence to have the self-confidence to continue. Andy, you said, I think he's drunk.
He's a little drunk.
I think that's what he needed.
Yeah.
But even alcohol doesn't really bring him to life.
No, it was not. This was dead from the beginning.
The only thing that really brings him to life is talking about Denise, and it's really heartbreaking. You see him just sort of spark, like he opens up, like he just sort of like that. He gets that glint in his eye, talking about like remembering his wife, honestly, and he tells her the hummingbird story, which she really loves.
Yeah.
But even this, like, I felt like I would have liked for Joan at this moment to have shared the thing about the hawk. Remember, she saw a hawk on her date with Jonathan?
Oh, right.
To me, just from a storytelling perspective, this is when she would have been like, I've seen a hawk.
I think she was in survival mode.
She's just surviving. Yeah. I don't know. I think the hawk would have been lovely to have brought back here. And it's not like I'm criticizing her. It's just like, I think this episode just left me wanting. I have blue balls. I thought that they could have bonded over the sign thing.
I agree.
Andy, you said, I think Mark is too sad for her. She doesn't want to be with that. She's already got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next day, apparently the gist is everyone thinks Mark is definitely getting a hometown because he thought it went so well. And now Joan comes to the house, pulls Mark, proceeds to give him, Andy, as you put it, a bullshit sandwich.
Oh, but the thickest bread I've ever seen.
Yes.
This was like, it was like a whole loaf
of bread on each side. She talks about how wonderful the date was, how much their time meant to her. She loves hearing about how healing this journey has been for him. She loves the hummingbird thing. He made her feel comfortable, so supported. And we get Word Watch 3 here. She says, you're such an amazing man. And then we get to the end of one loaf.
Yeah.
Yeah, she says, but...
Oh, this is a very thin boar's head slice of ham.
Boar's head. She went home last night. Something is missing. Something isn't right. She woke up this morning with clarity. She doesn't see herself in their conversations. She thinks she came into this too early in his personal journey. Basically, she needs someone who's as far along as she is in recovering. Mm-hmm. And of course, he takes this very well. I almost sensed relief.
Oh, totally.
From him.
The first thing I thought. That's what it felt like. He was like, thank you. Thank you. Let me get in that limo. Let me go home. Let me decompress.
Yeah, because I don't think he was ever going to leave on his own because he felt the experience was too enriching for him. But to be honest, I think Mark has been kind of wanting to go for a while.
Yeah, and I think that the only thing Mark's really going to miss is the camaraderie with the fellas.
He says this experience has changed him. He hasn't always been open. He's worn an invisibility cloak, which is a great Harry Potter reference. He's leaving there a better human being, a better man, a better father. We agreed here, Andy, with love. Again, we say this with the utmost respect and admiration that we just cannot picture him as Golden Bachelor.
No.
And it's not because of his age. Earlier on, we were going on about his age. We thought he had the look, but he's just, as you put it, Andy, he's sadder than I think we could have possibly imagined when we first met him.
Yeah. And he's not really for the camera. I mean, as I said, he would have been an action hero. He would have been an action hero if he was good for the camera.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah, it would have been over.
That's why he wasn't a movie star, Andy. No, all the headshots in the world couldn't have made a difference.
No, he simply is not right for the front of the camera.
Well, and I think to be right for the camera requires you wanting to be on camera.
Yes, he
Instead,
doesn't
this is a guy
it.
who wears an invisibility cloak.
He shies away from it.
Yes.
Look, let's be honest. Mark is a very good man.
Oh,
I mean, he is a good
This is
man.
A quality human being.
So, Sharleen, we're in Ireland, and it's a beautiful place.
Beautiful place.
Lovely people. Decent food. Decent. It's decent.
Yeah, the food's it's a little...
It's fine. Everyone told me. They were like, oh, no. You think Irish food's not that great, but you'll see. And I was like...
No, the ingredients are good. I just find restaurants not great. But get to your point.
I miss badly my Cozy Earth sheets, pillowcases, and towels.
Yes. We are in a rental unit right now. And the bed sheets.
No.
You know, it's part of life
Part of life.
to sleep in a nice bed sheet.
A third of life.
A third of your life. Temperature regulating, soft, yet durable.
Sustainable.
That's what Cozy Earth bed sheets are, because they're made from viscose from bamboo, which does make them more sustainable. But honestly, the durability to softness ratio of their bed sheets just blows my mind. Actually, all their items, like your pants too. You're wearing the joggers. I also have the joggers now, by the way.
Well,
I bought the joggers and I love them.
It begs the question, why haven't people been using bamboo for everything?
I think it was just not done.
I guess so.
Yeah, but Cozy Earth, they took the bull by the horns and they're like, no, this fabric is superior and we're going to show you why. And they have. They've shown everyone why, to the point where they have been on Oprah's favorite things list for different products for multiple years in a row. I think out of all of our sponsors, there's no other one where when people do cave and end up buying the Cozy Earth, where people come back in droves saying you were right.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah, the I told you so is almost too much.
Yes.
I don't have an appetite enough for it.
Yeah, I feel like self-conscious being like, yes, I did tell you so.
So wrap yourself in luxury this fall with Cozy Earth.
Go to cozyearth.com/Shandy and use code Shandy for an exclusive discount of up to 40% off. 40.
That's cozyearth.com/Shandy.
Okay, so now we have our rose ceremony. Joan is wearing, we have to talk about her dress. She's wearing a black strapless leather or leatherette dress or gown with a slit, and the slit has a sort of like embellished mesh paneling. Like it looks like French lace, but the lace part is like embellished.
Yeah, I don't remember it.
You don't remember it?
No, I don't remember it.
Wait, that's fascinating to me that you don't remember this, because to me, this dress was very like for the male gaze.
Oh, I didn't really remember. I remember thinking, it is for the male gaze, but I don't remember the dress. I remember it being black.
So, okay, question. Does tight black leather speak to you?
No, don't like it.
That is actually crazy to me, because I feel like an impression that women have about women's clothes, or that I would, anyway, I think anyway, is that like tight black leather is like a sexy, like, it's like bad girl.
It comes back to feelability. Doesn't have a good feel. Don't like the feel. It's tacky.
Tacky.
It's not soft and delicate. It's just, I don't like it. Never liked leather.
Oh.
Never liked it.
Okay, so when I wear like leather leggings, you're not like, ooh.
No, leather doesn't do it for me.
Oh, so are you like, Or you
it's just like indifferent. I'm just like,
indifferent.
Whatever.
Okay. Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah, don't like leather.
Okay, I would have expected that you would have been like, that was like
a lot of guys are into leather. I don't get that.
Okay, so you will admit other men are into leather.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, I know that leather is a fetish. It's a fetish level.
Yes.
Like they love leather. Tight leather, red leather, black leather, any leather, pink leather.
Okay.
Don't like leather.
Okay.
Every time they show these movies with like these, like the sexy like lead in these cheesy movies is wearing like some tight ass leather outfit.
Yeah.
Not having it.
Okay.
Doesn't do it for
I
me.
mean, like Catwoman is the best example.
Not interested. Never liked Catwoman.
What?
Never liked Catwoman.
Wait, so okay, what woman out of all of the sort of Marvel-y superhero-y types are you like that one? That's the one.
Wonder Woman.
Well, because that's so much more touchable.
Yeah, it's just like a leotard. Isn't that what she wears?
I'm pretty sure she wears like a pointy looking, like little one, like it looks like kind of like a bathing suit, or like maybe a romper.
I think she's a good outfit.
Yeah.
What other female superheroes are there that I can choose from?
I can only think of Poison Ivy. I suppose that's not that touchable either. Really at the heart of it, none of these are touchable. The only touchable one is Spider-Man.
I just like it. I like a nice,
is soft, there a
flowy dress. What's wrong with that?
Okay. So this dress.
Spider-Woman? Is there a Spider-Woman?
I don't know. I was thinking
that's
touchable.
There may have been, but it went away.
Okay. So
there was that terrible movie with the Spider-Woman girl.
Uh-huh.
The one who was in Shades of Grey.
Oh, Madam Web.
Madam Web.
Oh, that looked. We didn't even watch it, so maybe it was amazing, but I
no. It was definitely not amazing.
It was not.
No,
it looked so bad.
It was so bad that even when she was interviewed on the Late Show, they were making fun of the movie.
Oh, really?
Like they couldn't. It was so bad that they felt like the best way to market it was to just talk about it being so bad that people were like, oh, I got to see that movie. It must be so bad.
I'm gonna look. I don't often share a strong opinion about an actor's acting ability, but I'm going to do so right now. I think her acting is just absolutely abysmal.
Well, it's very whispery.
Well, she has no range. She always plays the same character. Like she's always the same. Like, and who knows? Maybe I'll watch Madam Web and be like, "Wow, she really came to life in this."
From what I've heard, you won't.
Yeah, I just I find that she doesn't speak with her full voice. Like, there's no body in her voice. Her voice is just like the upper part of her voice. Yeah. She talks like this. And I feel bad because I'm sure she's a lovely human being. But if we're going to talk about acting, which is what we kind of have started to talk about, or maybe I've made it so, I find her acting to be... Ugh.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with you. You know who would not agree with you was Don Johnson.
Oh, really?
He's very upset with your analysis.
Don Johnson?
Yeah, it's her father.
Oh, really?
Don Johnson, Miami Vice.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh. Okay, so she's a famous father. Oh, this is only making me more.
I wasn't going to say it. I wasn't going to say it. You brought up the nepotism.
This is only making me more accurate. Sorry. Okay, well, how do we get onto that? Black leather. Oh, I haven't talked about the dress yet.
Yeah.
I liked this dress from a sort of sexy Catwoman perspective. And what I appreciated about this dress, even though I do think her hair had her hair been even partly back, oh, this would have been so much better, truthfully. But, I'm going to drop it. Yeah. What I liked about the use of this dress is I think that there is an impression of black leather or tight black leather being like only for a certain generation or a certain age. And I love that we saw a woman in her 60s wearing this dress. Yeah. I just think it was so badass. She looked incredible in it. And it defied a lot of impressions people have about dressing a certain age. Personally.
All right.
She looked sexy in this dress, even if you didn't think so.
I vaguely remember a sexiness.
Okay, so going home at this rose ceremony are Jonathan and Keith. So she walks Jonathan out, tells him he is seen and worthy, which I thought was really lovely considering his insecurities. And Jonathan in his limo says, maybe my journey is just beginning.
Oh, yay.
That was a nice way to end this episode. Yeah. Okay, well, Andy, that brings us to your A game. Who is your winner?
It's just by default, Pascal.
Oh, really? Yeah, what do you think Pascal did in this episode?
Sometimes A game is doing nothing.
Okay. Well,
I also thought about giving it to Jordan.
Well, so
Jordan's just laying back in the cut.
So you don't think Chock?
Was Chock?
I mean, Chock was sidling up next to her.
Yeah, but Chock is just like, she picked Chock already.
Okay.
He's got a huge upper hand. He's already been picked.
Okay, can we talk quickly about, though, what I forgot to talk about it. When he's putting his arm around her, he's putting the moves on her. I actually felt her body language suggested, and I know she likes Chock. I felt her body language even in that moment suggested, I'm not into this. So you thought she was into it.
This is what I'm going to tell you. She's going to pick Chock.
Yes.
And that relationship's going to last all of 3 months.
Well, okay. So with Chock, what I picture becoming an issue with Chock long term, and trust me, I would love nothing more than for them to ride off into the sunset together and just be happily ever after. But Chock, his situation is he's divorced, right?
Yeah.
And I think we've seen examples of Chock being a little more on the jealous side, a little possessive. And I think John is still a very large part of Joan's life and her existence, her thought process. Like every single day, you can tell that John colors her.
And he doesn't have that.
He doesn't have that. And I wonder if that might become challenging for his personality type to, quote unquote, compete with. That's what I wonder.
I agree with you.
But
that's another thing.
I really hope I'm wrong about that. Okay, well, anyway, that brings us to our word watch, Andy. There were 3 amazings.
Yeah, which is amazing in itself.
Yeah.
Because if this was the regular Bachelor, there would be 3 per minute.
Yes. Well, we would never choose this word for a regular Bachelor. And our winner is Sicily Ice. Congratulations. You are the winner of One Skin Products, One Skin Eye, and One Skin Face. A fantastic prize.
Sicily Ice. It's a badass name. Is that actually her name?
It can't be. It's too good. Please email us by this Monday at midnight to claim your fantastic prize of One Skin Products. And Andy, what is the word for next week?
My wife.
It has to be my, because why? No ex-wife or my late wife?
No,
just
Joan.
My wife. That's not going to come up, I don't think.
No, because Joan is going to be the person they talk about being my wife.
Wow, that's ambitious. You think that's going to come up? I mean, you can go for what you want, but I think that this season is not leaning in that direction. It's very slow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I mean, you could do it.
Okay, maybe I'll just do wife.
Oh, now I feel bad.
Yeah, it made me feel so bad about it.
Sorry. Okay, you want to do my wife?
Wife.
Okay, so if you would like to join in the Shanty Word Watch fun and have a chance to win a prize, then you must guess the number of times the word wife, and it could be preceded by my, or ex, or late, or anything.
Yeah.
Just the word wife. How many times do you think it'll be uttered in episode 6, meaning hometown week? And you must do so by commenting either below this YouTube video or over on the Instagram post for this recap. You must use the numeral of the number of times you think it'll be guessed. You must do so by this Monday at midnight. You must be following us on Instagram and subscribed here on YouTube. And if you guess correctly, you must include word watch and wife in your comment. And if you guess correctly, you will be entered in a draw. And then one name will be plucked randomly. And that person will win. We're back to an OG prize.
Yeah.
OG. Some jewelry.
Jewelry.
Who doesn't like jewelry?
No one.
Jewelry's a great time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good. You put some metal stuff on your body.
If you guess correctly, you will win $100 in jewelry from Furano Studio, which is one of my all-time favorite jewelry brands. I absolutely love her stuff. And she used to be on Etsy, and now she's going it alone at furanostudio.com, which I think is just so cool.
Yeah.
And I love supporting small businesses. And so go check out her stuff. We have a promo code on the screen and in the description. And yeah, if you guess correctly, you will win some jewelry. So good luck. Okay, and Andy, that brings us to our predictions. You want to go 1, 2, 3, and then who we think's winning first? 1, 2, 3, Chock. Okay, I don't think any explanation necessary. How about second place? 1, 2, 3, Guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the only reason I say that is because I think Guy's starting to come on strong.
Yeah.
And I think she will be receptive to that, just in terms of like learning this bit about her on that date with Mark. We did learn that she would require someone to say, I love you to her first.
Guy's going to do that.
You know, I think Joan needs to feel very pursued. And I think that's why Chock is doing so well. Because I think Chock is really actively pursuing her. Okay, in third place. 1, 2, 3, Pascal. Okay.
Oh, so we got the same top 4.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we both think Jordan's going home next week.
Yeah.
I'm just sticking to my guns on this one. I know she said that she laughed more on that date than any other date, but...
No.
A lot of the laughing came from him falling on his butt.
I don't think Jordan's into Joan. I don't think Joan's into Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean, they may find each other pleasant.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of finding each other pleasant on this season.
Yes.
That's not enough.
Yeah, I agree.
I got to be honest. I was just, I'm not feeling this season anymore.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Andy, so hot and cold.
Sorry. I just not really, I kind of just want the finale to happen.
Okay.
I just want to see what happens.
Is it because you think it's too predictable?
It's too predictable, and there's no electricity.
There's no heart. There's actually plenty of heart, but there's no romantic
heart with the guys, and there's a lot of, sad, sentimental talk about losing loved ones, which obviously is very heavy, but it's just like there's not the construct of this show demands passion.
Yes.
There needs to be passion.
Yes.
And if that passion comes in the form of drama between a Devin and a whoever, then so be it.
Yeah.
But there needs to be passion somewhere. There's no drama and there's no passion in the romance department.
Yes.
And if there is, it's being left on the cutting floor because they don't want to make Chock seem like too much of a front runner, which he already is.
For me, the lack of romance, which is something I've been harping on for weeks, but I've tried to I've tried to keep that under wraps a bit because I'm like, I don't want to sound like a broken record. And I don't mean to suggest that she needs to be making out with all these men for this show to be interesting. It's not about the making out. It's about like an emotional connection. And while I think she feels connected to them as like friends, she is touched by their stories and they bond over having been through a lot in their lives. I'm not sensing romantic energy with anyone except Chock. And I agree with you. I think they're downplaying the Chock thing to make it seem like more of a fighting chance for the other men, which only makes things less interesting because that's all I want. I want to see some romance. Still feel good.
Very feel good.
The friendships are still very feel good.
It's feel good, but there's only so much feel good I can take.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. It's like having too much dessert.
with feel good, there has to eventually be a release.
Oh, a release.
Yeah.
Oh, like an
happy
explosion
ending
of sorts.
Yes.
Okay, this is where we wrap. If you enjoyed what you heard today, you know what we will ask of you, and that is to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow us on Instagram and
TikTok.
Leave us Apple and
Spotify.
Podcast ratings and reviews. Tell your friends, and generally do all the things you do to support a podcast you enjoy. You know what's going to make you feel better?
What?
Ruby most likely picking you. You want to get to it?
No, it's to make me feel guilty.
Come on, let's just do it.
All right.
You're officially her primary parent. I go to rehearsal too much. Okay, Ruby, let's see. This really got me down last week.
Sorry. All right, Ruby.
Ruby.
Okay. You want to come over here? Oh,
No.
she chose neither of us.
Come
Come on, Ruby.
Come on.
Come on. Oh, she's a sweet girl. Yay! Just hold on to her tight.
No. Oh.
Sorry.
How do you feel about yourself, Andy?
I have
You
mixed
monster.
feelings.
Oh, Ruby.
Oh, yay.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Dear Shandy. Bye-bye. Dear Shandy.